2025 is pretty much here. Whether you like it or not, whether you prepare for it or not, whether you sit back and wait until January to say that you're going to prepare for it, it's already here. So I was thinking about this and I was praying about it. Now, one of the things that I do is I don't wait until January to pray about the following year. I don't wait till that time to map out what I'm going to do, to seek God about what I'm going to do. I do that before. And most of the times in the summertime of the previous year, that's when I start to think about the next year. A lot of us will wait until the start of the new year to think about what we want to do in that year. But I want to share with you 3 things from the Word of God that God gave me that if you want to be able to thrive, not just this year, but every year, especially for this coming year, there are 3 keys. You can call these 3 keys, 3 wisdom keys, or whatever you want to call them. But I know there are 3 things that God impressed on my heart, and I want you to pay attention. These are things that it is going to help you to elevate to a completely different level. These are the things that I'm working on, that I'm doing in 2025 and beyond. So I want to share those things with you. Now, in order to give you these 3 keys, I want to kind of set the tone here for you. This comes from the book of Daniel. Now, of all the books in the Bible, the one book that I connect to the most is the book of Daniel, because there's something that I feel connected to with Daniel. Now, Daniel was taken into captivity by the Babylonians when he was about 15 to 17 years old. Jerusalem was captured by the Babylonians by Nebuchadnezzar II. Now, you got to understand something. One of the ways, or what Babylonians did, right? Nebuchadnezzar, anytime that he conquered a people, he would impose his religion on them, their gods, and the Babylonian god at that time was Marduk. He was like their god of gods, right? So anytime that they would capture them, any groups, they would impose Babylon on the Babylonians. They didn't ask your opinion if you wanted to serve their gods. They didn't say, here are your options. You can choose your God, or you can choose our, but they forced it on you. So when Daniel was captured, Daniel had to learn about the gods. Daniel had to go to training. Matter of fact, before Daniel was taken before King Nebuchadnezzar, do you know that Daniel had to go through preparation? He had to go through preparation for 3 long years before he could stand before the king. In other words, the Babylonians, they wanted to make sure that they indoctrinated you with what they want you to believe. Their system was well written down. It was very thorough and it was very clear. So with Daniel being part of that system, Daniel was forced to learn about different things that he would not have otherwise learned about it. And you're probably wondering, well, how does that tie into the world today? Well, we live in a Babylonian system. We live in that type of a system where you have to understand how the system works in order for you to really thrive. So I want you to go to the book of Daniel, and I want you to read Daniel chapter 2, because that's where I'm getting these from. Daniel chapter 2, you can read it so you can have a little bit more understanding of the backstory and why it's important. Now, you're probably asking, how does this relate to me? Well, this relates to in a lot of ways. I've identified 3 things that you need to master. I mean, these are things that you need to you need to know in the back of your hands. You have to get them ready. No, it's not investing in the stock market, even though that's part of it, or buying, crypto, buying Bitcoin, or getting into real estate and, all those things. So what are they? The first thing that you need to master this year is your ability to communicate skillfully You need to be able to communicate with clarity and with wisdom. Now, I know that sounds so simple, but there's so many people that they've lost so many opportunities because of lack of clarity. They've missed so many things in their lives because they lack the communication skills that's needed in order to express what they're looking for, to express what they desire. Look, when Daniel was captured in the Babylonian system, they were very thorough in terms of what they want you to do. They had a law for every aspect of life. So whatever they wanted you to do, if you're married, if you're single, if you had kids, if you were different economic class, if you had this, if you were rich, if you were poor, if you were a bureaucrat, whatever it is, they were clear in their communication with you. One of Daniel's first challenges in Babylon was to navigate a potential life-threatening situation when the king demanded for an interpretation of a dream. Now, the king had different wise men. Now, you need to understand this. Daniel dealt with witches, warlords, and wizards every single day because that is how the Babylonian culture was. They served other gods. And based on the Torah, the Bible said to Daniel, like, you should have no other gods before me. So Daniel was put in the midst having other gods with the Babylonians. So Daniel had to interpret the king's dreams, and none of his wise men could interpret it. But you know what Daniel did? Daniel did not panic. Daniel did not argue. Daniel did not accuse anyone. Instead, he spoke with wisdom, turning a crisis into an opportunity. When you are able to communicate clearly, you can turn any crisis in your life into an opportunity. Let me repeat that. When you are able to communicate clearly with the wisdom of God, you can take a crisis and turn that into an opportunity that can change your life forever. And a lot of times when we're going through crisis, we look at all the negative aspects of it, all the things that are wrong, the complaining, the arguing, the fighting. But we never think about that, I need to see this as an opportunity for me to be clear about my goals. If there's ever been a time for you to articulate with clarity what direction you're going, what you stand for, what your vision is in life, what your plans are for your business, for your ministry, for your family, for your marriage, for your kids. If there's ever been a time, this is that year that you need to be able to communicate it. You need to write it down. You got to write it down. And I see most people don't do this. Make sure that you are writing it down. Write down the vision and make it plain. So he who says me run with it. We do not take the time to say, I need to write this down. Now, I'm not just sharing things with you that I've heard, but these are things that I'm sharpening my communication skills. Every year, I improve my communication skills because I realize that when you're able to communicate with clarity, you can get just about anything you desire out of life when you can get the message right. So Daniel approached Arioch, who he was the guy that Nebuchadnezzar said, look, I need you to execute all the wise men. You got to understand something. Back then, when the king gave a command to execute, they didn't care about your feelings, whatever God you serve, they just wanted to just get rid of them. But Daniel had to use wisdom in the midst of crisis. Maybe you are facing crisis right now in your life. Maybe you're facing situations that you're saying, I've been going through this year after year. It's been repeating time and time again, and things are not changing. I don't know what else to do. May I suggest to you that could it be that you haven't done a good job in communicating your intentions, communicating your thoughts, communicating what you're thinking and what you're going to do so it's clear enough? When people know that you're clear about the direction you're going, there's certain things that they will not even bring up to you. You need wisdom. Part of your communication is to use wisdom when you communicate. You want to be able to speak calmly in difficult situations. You know, one of the things that Daniel did, Daniel saw that there's a lot of panic going on. The wise men were panicking. Oh, we're going to get killed. Our families are going to get killed. But Daniel said to them, y'all got to relax. One of the ways that you communicate effectively is through your calmness. Because when you panic, you're never clear about your direction when you communicate and you're in panic mode. Because your thoughts are going all over the place. Your mind is going all over the place. So you need to be able to calm. Proverbs 15:1 says this: a soft answer turneth away wrath. So one of the strategies that you have to implement in your communication is to be able to look at the situation, stay calm, get wisdom from God, and then articulate what you need to say. Don't worry about who's going to agree with you. Don't worry about the emotions that people are going to have, because people's emotions, when you communicate with them, it is going to fluctuate. Your emotions fluctuate, mine fluctuate, but you have to get to a point where you have to say, I need to use wisdom to say things that I need to say, and I got to be clear about it. Whoever doesn't like it, this is the direction. Look, people respect you when you are clear about your direction, even if they don't like you, even if they don't agree with it. You got to ask the right questions. Part of communications is asking the right questions. You know, oftentimes when we want to say things, we don't take the time to listen to the whole thing in order to ask the right questions. Are you asking the right questions? Because you're going to face challenging times that you can make permanent decisions based on the feelings that you have at the moment, based on the emotions that you have at the moment. You can make a rash decision that you end up regretting. So part of your communication is asking the right questions. So when Daniel heard that the wise men were ordered to be pretty much just slaughtered, he went to the chief guard and said, look, why is this decree so hasty? Why does the king want this to happen right now? Daniel was dissecting the problem by asking the right questions. So when you look at all the things that's going on in your life and you look at all the challenges that you're facing, I want you to take a step back, and I want you to begin to pray and ask God to help you to ask the correct questions. And you're going to realize that when you're able to ask the right questions, you're going to come up with amazing solutions that will blow your mind away. So ask the right questions. Present solutions, not just problems. An effective communicator can be able to communicate different solutions. So if you've been dealing with the same problems year after year, you want to be able to say, okay, I've been dealing with this for whatever time frame, but now these are the solutions that I have for this. We can do A, we have B, we have C. The best one that I think is going to be C, and then you get that out. You express that. Daniel offered to interpret the dream rather than merely complain about the decree. Daniel could have just said, oh my goodness, the king ordered for all the wise men to get killed. I'm one of them. Then he could have just complained and complained. Complaining is not an effective communication strategy because it doesn't solve any problem. It just creates more problems. When you complain, you're not presenting a solution, but you become part of the problem. You extend the problem by complaining. So as you're looking at your life in the whole, you need to be able to assess what solutions can I bring to this situation? If you've been dealing with it for a long time, it's about time that you come up with different solutions. It's about that time. Number two, the second thing that I gathered from Daniel 2 is that you have to build strategic relationships in different areas of your life, because you don't know when you're going to need them. You know, I created a video a while ago, and I was talking about never burn bridges with people, because the bridge or the bridges that you burn may one day be the same bridge you need to get across. But we don't think about that. There are times when we just burn certain bridges with certain relationships with people, like, you know what, I don't care, whatever, let it be. But you have to be strategic when you are building relationships, who you're building them with, where you're building those relationships. And then you have to be able to harness, and you have to be able to maintain those relationships. Daniel understood the power of relationships, you know. And when I talk about relationships, I'm not just talking about a romantic relationship. I'm talking about business and partnerships with organizations, with ministries, with friends, with connections that you make. All those are things that are important. So instead of trying to handle the king's impossible demand alone, you know what Daniel did? Daniel went back to his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He said to them, listen, this is what's going on. We need to come together, because we're all of us are wise men. If we don't come up with this dream, if we don't come up with an interpretation of this, we are gone. We're gonna die. They're gonna kill us too. So you need to understand that your relationships are going to help you get to your next level. You cannot thrive as an island. You cannot thrive by yourself. You need people. We need to get off this lone wolf mindset. You know, there are a lot of people that talk about the lone wolf. And the idea of it is that you want to just go by yourself, alone somewhere. You want to figure it out by yourself. You want to do it all by yourself. You don't want help from anybody. You want to take all the credit. But that's not smart. You're setting yourself up for failure. What you need to do is you want to begin to look at your the relationships, the people that are part of your life, and you want to see what can you learn from them? What can you network with them for? What can you do together? You know, it's unfortunate sometimes, because there are a lot of people that don't want to network. They want to do it all by themselves. But you won't get anywhere if you do it all by yourself. Eventually, you're going to get burnt out, and you won't be able to accomplish anything at all. Daniel sought support. You need support. I need support. All of us need the right support. Together, they approached the throne and said, God, we have an impossible situation. So we're bringing it to a God that turned impossibilities into possibilities. We're coming to you to get this secret that only you can reveal, that only you can expose, that only you know. We need you to be able to help us with this, God. So guess what? They went to God because they went together. You know, I talked about this the other day. I talked about the importance of having a prayer partner. You need a prayer partner, someone that when you're trying to figure things out, when you're not sure about what direction to go, or you're dealing with certain things, and you can call them and say, look, I'm going through this. Can we pray about it? And if they're going through stuff, they call you. But you need to build those type of strategic relationship. Surround yourself with godly, wise counsel. And that is something that a lot of us sometimes will ignore that. We ignore the godly counsel. We ignore the people that can be able to help us to get through certain things that they've been through. Talk to them. You know, one of the things that I always do is when I have to make certain decisions, I speak to people, have people that are in my inner circle that I can call and say, look, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm feeling this. I need clarity on this. Can you help me kind of decipher this? I'm not really sure. I think this is what I want to do, but these are the different options that I have. What do you think is the best option for me to take? Why this? And so you need to be able to get counsel. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. You need to get sharpened, collaborate, and delegate. Part of your strategic relationship building is you want to collaborate and you want to delegate. There's a difference. You want to find out people that are in your circle. You want to work with them. You want to build something with them. Well, you know, something amazing happens when you begin to collaborate with the right people. You realize that you guys have similar ideas, but maybe one of you guys expands on that idea better, right? The beautiful thing about collaboration is that someone is always going to have another piece of the puzzle that you don't have. So when you collaborate with different people, whether it's in business, whether it's in ministry, whether it's in life, in different areas, they can bring a piece of the puzzle and you bring another piece. And then when you guys put it together, then you can be able to see the whole picture. So delegate means you have a small team, even if it's just you and one other person, right? Into this world, you can hire a team from anywhere. You want to delegate the things that you don't want to waste time to do, or the things that you shouldn't be doing. You delegate those little tasks to someone else, or you can use AI. For those of you that haven't used AI, I'm a huge supporter of AI when it's used in the right context. So you use AI and you can be able to delegate tasks to this AI to do different things for you, to automate things, to create responses, whatever it is. And you delegate it so that you can be able to free that time up to focus and to do something else. I know that once you're able to delegate, it's going to help you a lot. Be a person of integrity. Daniel earned the trust of his friends and the king by living a life of integrity through consistent character and faithfulness. So Daniel was a person that was known as a man of integrity. Whatever Daniel said that he was going to do, he always followed up with it. So you want to surround yourself with people that have integrity. There's nothing more frustrating when you get around people that do not have integrity. They're not people of their word. They'll say, you know, I'm going to do this, but they end up not doing it. You know, they'll make promises that they never fulfill. They'll say, you know, always late. They're just not the type of people that you want to associate with or connect with. And those are dead weight. You need to cut out dead weight in your relationships. You got to cut them off. It's nothing personal. You need to assess and realize there's dead weight that I'm carrying. I can't keep carrying this dead weight. I got to let it go. I have to let this dead weight go. And there's some, you have relationships right now that those relationships, they're not advancing your life in any way, shape, or form at all. Those relationships, they're not helping you to get anywhere in life. Matter of fact, they are dragging you down. They're pulling you down. Those relationships are hindering you from getting to where you need to be. You should have been a lot further along than you are today, but because of the relationships that you've built with the wrong people, now they've been wearing you down. But I believe this is the time and the season that God is going to give you wisdom and help you to cut off dead weight. You can't keep carrying dead weight. Listen, you can love certain people from a distance. I love you. You're my brother, or you're my sister, you're my niece, my nephew, whoever it is. I will love you from a distance, but I'm going somewhere in life. I can't keep living like this. I want more out of life. I want to be better. I want to keep improving myself every day, every week, every month, every year. So you got to cut out the dead weight in your life. I want you to think about your life right now. Be honest with yourself. Be honest. Who would you consider dead weight? Now, don't get too emotional about this choice, right? Look at the people in your life. I want you to come up with 3 names of 3 people that you know are dead weight. And you have to decide how you want to move forward with your relationship with these people. They're dead weight. As long as you keep carrying them, you won't get anywhere. I know about dead weight. And I've become the master of cutting dead weight. It's nothing, look, it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal, but I know where I'm going. I know what my destiny demands. The reason why you used to have certain people in your life, because you want to please people that are not going in the same direction as you. And when you realize that you've been carrying dead weight for so long, by the time it's too late, cut up the dead weight so you can feel lighter and you can move on. Number 3, I wrote a book, this book right here. It's called Make a Decision. This book, it asks you 8 questions that you need to ask in different aspects and areas of your life. The decisions you make today would determine the course of your destiny. Choosing not to make a decision is the worst decision you can make, because by choosing not to make a decision, you've already made a decision. Decision making can be one of the most challenging aspects of your life, especially in the face of uncertainty. When you're not sure what direction to go, when you're not sure what to do, when you're not sure who to connect with, who to let go, when you got to make all those decisions, look, it's challenging. But one of the things that I've learned about decision making is this: learn to make decisions fast. When you learn the art of making decisions fast or faster, you're going to realize that decision was either a good one or a bad one. And the reason for that is when you make a bad decision fast, you oftentimes can correct those things. You can go back and say, okay, I made the wrong decision. I need to make some adjustments and change things. But if you take forever to make certain decisions, you may not have time on your side to go back and correct certain things that should have never been, made. So learn to make decisions faster. Daniel models how to make wise decisions by seeking God's guidance. Look, you can never make a godly decision without going to God first. When I got to make certain decisions, I go to God and I said, Lord, I'm not really sure what to do with this one. I'm thinking this, I want to go this direction. What do you have to say? And God to give it to me. I go back in the word. That's why I'm taking back to the Bible to show you to go back. Learn from Daniel decision making. After seeking God in prayer, Daniel received the dream and its interpretation and a vision. So when you want to make massive decisions that can change your life for better or worse, you need to go to God and say, Lord, I have this decision to make. This is a life-changing decision, and I need you to help me with it. And God will help you. Sometimes he'll show you a dream. And oftentimes God speaks to you through dreams. So God will show you a dream and you just kind of just, you know what? That wasn't enough. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Anytime that you pray and ask God to reveal things to you, be in expectant mode that God is going to show you a dream. God is going to reveal something to you. God is going to speak to you. He can send a person. He can allow certain situations to kind of see that you're going that right way. But God is going to speak to you. So you need to be ready for that. Daniel's first response was he praised God. He praised God. Thank God for giving him the answer to it. So here's how you apply this in this year, whether it's 2025 or any other year. Seek God before making decisions. Let me say it again. Seek God before making decisions, especially major decisions that can change your life. We sometimes are so anxious. We want to do things the way that we want to do it, that we completely ignore going back to God and saying, this is what I want to make. What do you have to say about it? And God will give it to you. God will reveal it to you. Start with prayer. Before you make that decision, just start with a simple prayer. You don't have to have, big complicated words. Just go to God and say, Lord, I got to make a decision about this. I don't know which way to go. I'm not sure what's the right decision to make. So I need you, because your word in James said that if anyone lacks wisdom, James 1:5, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. You're going to give me. So Father, I'm coming to you right now because I don't even know what to do. And you wait. God will speak to you. Number 2, about making decisions, is make decisions with gratitude and praise. Acknowledge God. Sometimes we go to God and God give us the answers. In that case, you need to say, Father, I thank you for giving me the answer to this. Acknowledge God when God gives you the answer to your prayers. And thirdly, base decisions on truth, not fear. If your decisions stand firm on biblical principles, not fear or personal or societal pressure, you never go wrong. I think oftentimes we don't want to make certain decisions because we're thinking, what are people going to think about it? What are people going to say? How are people going to feel? Well, you need to be able to learn to put aside the feelings of everybody else and say, what does God think? How's God going to feel about this decision? So as you're going through and preparing for 2025, another year, I want you to remember this. Master communication skills, build strategic relationships, and learn how to make wise decisions, because your life is going to depend on it. Everything you do is going to depend on these 3 things. If you want to invest, you need to be able to build quality relationships. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to make a decision, the type of investment that you want to do. So all these 3 things that I just gave you, in order for you to thrive in 2025, you need to apply every single one of them.